and you're like, okay, I need to meet with this teacher. I need to give her feedback about what I heard. So you sit down, you make the time, you have the meeting, and then you never end up following up with the teacher. Or if you do, she tells you, yeah, I'm going to get it done, and she never gets it done. And then enough time passes and you feel stupid that you even had the meeting in the first place because she didn't follow up. So, and this is not to say that this is all your teachers. Even if you have one or two like this, it could be really frustrating, and it's really difficult to continue to build your school like this when you make the time to have meetings with your team. And as a director, you're in meetings more often than you're not in meetings. If you look at your day and you actually look at your calendar of the week, you're in meetings more than you're just sitting and checking email or eating or, I don't know, just grabbing a cup of coffee. Yeah, lots of likes coming in over here. So like you're in meetings a lot. And so to make a meeting actually valuable and actually worth your time, because your time is really, really valuable, and we'll can do that at a different time, how much your time is actually worth. But your time is too valuable to actually sit down and meet with someone and not have any results come out of it. So let's go into the breakdown first with a team meeting. We'll focus on that tonight, and then I want to really, get feedback from you guys and let you open up the floor to questions and answers and really focus on that follow-up and accountability today. And then if you guys want more on the follow-up and accountability with one-on-ones, we can do that as well. But for right now, I want to focus on group meetings because that happens a lot more often than one-on-one meetings. So the first thing is, when you're running a group meeting, is 40% of the success at that meeting is going to happen before the meeting even started, which means the way that you plan for that meeting is going to guarantee the focus, the execution, and the results of that meeting. And I'm just going to repeat that again. 40% of the work of the success of that meeting happens before the meeting, which means if you want to have a successful meeting, how you plan it is going to guarantee the focus that your teachers will have, the execution that's going to happen, and the results that are going to drive. So just give me a yes in the chat box if you're following along and if you're seeing, where I'm taking you. I'm starting you guys in the beginning now of the planning phase, but tell me if you're following along. Thumbs up, a like, a smiley face, a yes, whatever you want. I just want to see that you're following along with me, so that, before I move on, I want to just gauge, awareness here. There's so many people here. This is awesome. We have people from all over. This is super cool. We have a little roll call here. Okay. Awesome. Yep. Everyone's in. All right. Great. Okay. So the first thing is you're going to be planning. So I always like to give this example of, we just made tickets to go to Wisconsin for Hanukkah. We're going to visit my brother-in-law. And we're super excited because the first time that we're ever flying with the kids. For those of you that don't know me, I have 3 little kids, a 2-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 6-year-old. First time flying. So I know that whenever we do anything, the more that you plan, the better your trip is going to be, right? So I already wrote a little social story for my kids, our first plane ride, and I'm prepping them for the plane ride and what security is and what we do and this and all the little steps and all the moving pieces down to you got to use the bathroom before we get on the plane. Everything is in that book because I know that when it's game time and when it's show time and when I'm running through that airport with 3 little kids and 5 suitcases and this and this and this, I don't want to have to start explaining to you, you need to stand here, you need to go there, please go use the bathroom, please this. I'm not going into all those details. You need to know what we're doing before we get to the airport. So now let's move back over to the meeting. When you get to the meeting, that's not when you start explaining to your teachers, okay, so this is what we're talking about. No. This all happens way before the meeting starts. So before your meeting, I want you to be able to answer this one question. At the end of this meeting, of these 30 minutes, 60 minutes, 90 minutes, what will be the outcome? The result of this meeting will be what? Fill in the blank. So we're going to do this little exercise right now. I want you to think about your next meeting. If you're meeting one-on-one, if you're doing a brainstorming session about a new holiday, an event, initiative, a problem you have to solve. Like just recently I worked with a director. They had a big issue with all the strollers. Welcome to New York City, right? So lots of issues with the strollers, where to park them, where to store them, They had a whole meeting about it. Before they walked into the meeting, the director filled in this blank. At the end of this meeting, there will be one solution of what to do with the strollers. During the meeting, we're going to strategize. We're going to come with lots of different ideas. But at the end of the meeting, there's got to be one solution to the problem, to the stroller problem. So now, I want you guys to get into the chat box. And I want to see you guys, and I want you guys to do this exercise. At the end of this meeting, either a brainstorming or a curriculum planning or whatever it is, what will be the result of that meeting? So I'll give you guys a minute, and I want you guys to just think for a second. If you have a question, you're not really sure how to fill it out, just ask me. But I want to see if any of you could just try to fill in that sentence. First of all, I see every single one of you that are here. I'm not making a personal shout out to everyone, but it's so great to see you all. Okay, let's see who's going to be the most daring director who's going to jump into the stormy cold waters and fill in the blanks. All right, you know what? While someone's deciding if they're going to do, I'm going to walk into the next phase, okay? So before you sit down for your first meeting, you're going to write, at the end of this meeting, I will accomplish, the result will be blank, okay? I'm just looking at my notes here, sorry. Okay, so at the end of this meeting, this is, yeah, big smiley face. Okay. Okay, yeah, so at the end of this meeting, this is going to be the result, okay? So now you're planning. So you're going to create your agenda. Now your agenda doesn't just include, okay, you know, we're going to hash out and unpack logistics of the holiday event. And then we're going to give out roles and responsibilities of who's doing what at the event. And then we're going to talk about the actual execution of the event, like from start to finish, where everyone is, what happens, what needs to be done from start to finish. You're not only writing that in the agenda, you're also going to go into how much time you're allotting for every single part of the agenda, okay? On average, early childhood programs are typically only women. Women love to talk all day long. This is what I do for a living. I talk all day. That's why I have no voice left. So because we love to talk, if we don't give time limits on our talking, we will talk and no solutions will ever be made. So in your agenda, you also have to give a time frame. So for example, if you're sitting down and you're saying, we're going to hash out some ideas of how to solve the stroller issue. I'm allotting 15 minutes to come up with a solution for the stroller problem. 15 minutes is plenty of time to have everyone unpack all their ideas, be able to, you know, share all their complaints about what's been happening until now, and come to a conclusion. 15 minutes. And you literally set the timer. Like 5 minutes before those 15 minutes are up, it's like, okay, ladies, we got 5 minutes left to crank out a solution to this problem. You know, anyone got to, okay, let's vote. Boom, here we go. So, Singh says, true, I thought I was just being OCD at a lot. Oh, you thought you were just being OCD at allotting time for each activity? No, you're totally not, because I'm not OCD at all about almost anything. But when it comes to punctuality and stuff like that, you really need to be allotting times for certain things. Okay, so Cindy King, oh, I love you. Yay, she took up the challenge. She said, at the end of the next meeting, we will have a plan for our next family event. Awesome, awesome. So now, okay, so you know what, Cindy, because you were daring and you jumped right in, I'm going to use your goal, your objective, to roll out how we're going to create follow-up and accountability for this kind of meeting, okay? have someone as a timekeeper is great. Yeah, we'll go into some more strategies, maybe a little bit later on. But and that's a great one. And there's some really great ideas, for facilitator, for note taker, for timekeeper, for all of those things. And it's definitely not you as the director, because you're leading the meeting. So at the end of the next meeting, we will plan for our next family event. So Cindy, that's your objective that you're going to write on the top. Now let's go through your agenda. What are some things that typically happen at a family event? Are there roles and responsibilities? Are there specific people that have to do certain things in order for the event to be a success? I'm going to venture yes. So part of your meeting is going to be roles and responsibilities. These are the roles at a family event. Someone takes care of the food. Someone does registration. Someone does greeting. Someone does, I don't know, the trampoline. I'm just like, throwing ideas out there, okay? Someone has to do each of these things. Those are all the roles. Next to that, those are all the responsibilities. Then you have who owns it, okay? Who owns the trampoline? Who owns the food? Who owns what part of this family event? Okay, that's going to be part of your agenda, the roles and responsibilities. And you can allot a good 30 minutes for that, because teachers tend, unless you know your staff and they're not going to start hashing out, oh, I really want to do the trampoline. No, I really want to do it. I don't know your team. You know your team better than I do, but you want to hash out a certain amount of time for roles and responsibilities when it comes to planning your agenda. The next part of planning your agenda is going to be, okay, so let's just recap for a second. So we decided our objective, you're going to plan your family event. Then we went into, now we're going into the agenda, which is, I was getting ahead of myself with the activities. With the agenda, it's going to be, number one, what day is the meeting taking place? Wednesday. What time? 4 p.m. Where? In the teacher's lounge, okay? You want to be ultra specific about things like this. There are many schools that have multiple locations, have multiple rooms where meetings could take place. Teachers have to know where the meeting is going to be. Teachers are humans, they have lives, they have personal lives, many of them are married, many of them have multiple children. It's close to impossible to expect people to just run at our whim. And I know that as leaders, and especially the directors that are in this group, are like really leaders of excellence and understand that teachers need to know in advance what we're expecting of them. And so the agenda needs to be emailed actually before the meeting. So if your meeting is on Tuesday, by Monday or on Tuesday the latest, you want to make sure that the agenda is sent out. So you have your time, you have your place, you have your location, right? Now let's go into your location, okay? Because this is part of your preparing. Like I was saying in the beginning of the training today, that 40% of the success is going to be in the prep. Part of preparing is preparing the right tone for the meeting. And the first thing is, when you're preparing the tone of the meeting, is just the environment, okay? Most of you that are in this group are Reggio-inspired progressive early childhood educators. You know the value of environment and how environment is the third teacher, and that plays a key role in the child's choices that they make, the success, the way that they feel about themselves, the way that they relate to the environment, the way that they relate to their peers, the way they relate to you, the way that they think of themselves. The environment plays such a key role. So now we have to translate that to the teachers. The way that we set up the environment for the meeting is key to how we're wiring the teachers to think at the meeting, okay? I want you to step out for a second. Pretend you're going into a shopping mall, okay? When you walk into a mall, once you hit a certain age, there's certain stores you don't walk into. Me, I don't walk into Abercrombie. I don't walk into that store. It's too dark. It's too noisy. It smells. I can't do it. I can't, besides the fact that none of the clothes there are my style or work, just besides the fact that the clothes there are for whatever, people that are a lot younger than I am, the environment in that store is not for me. It's too loud, it's too dark, and it's too smelly. So I want you to think for a second, what are some stores that you don't walk into, okay? Even let's say a restaurant. There are some stores that you don't walk into those restaurants. They're just not your style. You don't like that ambiance. You just don't walk in there. So I want you guys to just share some places that you don't walk into, either like a restaurant or a clothing store or, I don't know, a bookstore or a bank, or just tell me one store or one place